Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're playing some Raid Shadow Legends, and I already made this video, but my disk space ran out, so I lost it, so I have to make it one more time. Today we're going to do a Masteries guide, because a lot of people have been asking how should I build my Masteries on a support or a defensive or an offensive hero, and all that stuff. And I'm not an expert. I will leave a link down in the description of an expert of a Reddit guide you can also follow. But I wanted to give my input on it as well, because, you know, it's important to try and help. And my advice might not be the best, but I'll give from what I've taken from advice from other people and from reading the Reddit guide. And I will try and give you guys a good advice. Some good advice, hopefully. So I currently have my Rey. She's an attacker and she's a debuffer. That's very important to know. She debuffs enemies, she does freeze debuffs, and she hits hard, and she does debuffs. And another important thing to face is she attacks all enemies all the times. That doesn't really matter. But another thing is she doesn't do multiple singular hits. So the difference between her and one other hero like that, I'll come to that. So what's important on an offensive hero is of course a lot of crit rate. I would never go for the attack buff. And then as how accuracy works, the higher accuracy you have, the more chances you have are, the higher likelihood you have of casting a debuff and it succeeding. Like, because how it could work is if you hit an enemy and it says resisted, that means you didn't have enough accuracy, or just, it increases the likelihood of a debuff actually placing. So that's why I would always recommend doing accuracy here if you have a hero dealing debuffs. And then on the second tree we have increased crit damage by 10%, because crit damage is obviously a very good one. It's just a straight up crit damage buff, which is great. And then I also chose increases damage inflicted by 5% when attacking with full HP. That means if you're a quick team with, like mine for example, with Apothecary giving myself speed, Gorgrab giving attack, Tomb Road decreasing defense, and then Rey attacking, she will just straight up deal 5% more damage because she has full HP. This could also work for a tanky team, which has a lot of shield. The enemies can't hurt through your shield, you'll still attack with full HP, and that's going to work. Because you can take damage in your shield, just not your health. That's essentially how it works. And then here, just increases accuracy by 20% when this champion has no skills on cooldown. This is kinda ish for my Rey. It could be good for super tanky teams, because she does have a higher likelihood of casting freeze. But typically, I begin with Arcane Wave, because that deals more damage to when my Tomb Lord has done Blight, like decreasing their defense and attack. So yeah, just simply makes her deal more damage at that point. And then she'll have that on cooldown, and she will not have the extra 20 accuracy, which is okay. But it's good against the teams with, like, is it a Valkyrie or Martyr? I think it's Martyr. Just giving all the enemies counterattack and buffs to all here and there. I want to remove those buffs, so then I do Arcane Wave first. But that's just, this is for Rey. But overall, all offensive heroes, if they cast debuffs and everything, just pay attention and should want to use this. Increases accuracy for each dead enemy. Kind of makes sense. Then you just have a higher likelihood of freezing the remaining enemies. It's great. And then you have a 30% chance of increasing your turn meter once debuff is removed or expires. This is great. If she freezes someone, that debuff decreases. That debuff disappears or is removed. She has a 30% chance of just getting a 10% turn meter, which in the end could give her another turn, which could change the battle entirely, and it could make you win instead of lose if you're that close. And then you have relevant of that. It basically means if she's killed 3 enemies, she has 18 speed, and she will hopefully at that point have a higher speed than the enemy who survived, who may have a higher speed than her. If that makes any sense, then she will be able to kill them before they're able to kill her, basically. And then we have Cycle of Violence, 30% chance of decreasing the cooldown of a random skill by 1 turn if the damage inflicted by a skill exceeds 30% of the target's max HP, occurs once per turn. So this just means that if she deals more than 30% of the HP of an enemy, which she does very frequently, I might add, she has a 30% chance of just removing 1 turn on the cooldown, for example on Arcane Wave or whatever it's called. What's it called again? Arcane Wave. But Arcane Wave and then Banish, my bad. Okay, so yeah, just something to keep in mind. This is a good one. And this is not race specific. This is any offensive hero which is like her, basically. And if she does not steal debuffs, then you don't have to focus on accuracy. Then I can give you perhaps another little bit of advice or something. But most offensive heroes does give debuffs. And on the same line here we have Lord of Steel. It's very good if you have an attack set, normal offensive or divine offense, just 2 sets, like not lifesteal on all those types, then this is very good. Just increases their stuff, it increases their stats. Decreases the turn meter when the default skill. This is very good for support heroes, because then they typically do only have single target skills, and they have a chance of just it just for the first time, if they hit for the first time, they will simply just decrease the turn meter, and that will maybe make the enemy have 1 less turn, and then you 1 more turn, and then you can see how it's going. You'd win, most likely more. You'd have a higher likelihood of winning. And this one is very good as well. If for example, Ray is casting not freeze, but let's say she's casting her decreased defense buff. It has a 1 chance. It's let's say that's 2 turns. It may be 3 turns because of Master Exer, and it's a 1 in 3% chance essentially. So that's a very good one. Master Exer is amazing. And then here you have just places a shield buff. It's self-explanatory. It makes her more tanky if she's killed someone. And it may make her survive longer to just take out the enemies. This is a very cool one. And then increases the damage in the arena. It's kind of self-explanatory. It just makes the hero stronger overall. Up to 12% stronger. Kind of cool. And then you have War Master. The reason why I'm using War Master instead of Giant Slayer, by the way, you shouldn't focus on anything else here, like Helm Smasher, I don't really know, man. You should use Giant Slayer if your main hitter offensive hero does 3 or more hits in a single skill, and I would advise them doing that on 2 skills potentially. Like on 2 skills potentially they should do more than a single hit at least. If they're doing 3 on 1 and 2 on 1, I'd probably recommend Giant Slayer. And Giant Slayer is amazing. That's more efficient for heroes doing that. War Master is more like it's for heroes just doing single hits, then it's just stronger. Just something to note. So this is for most of the offensive heroes which can deal debuffs and does only a singular hit. And it's essentially the same, except you just put Giant Slayer for heroes which does the same things, except they have multiple hits, multiple singular hits. Then Giant Slayer is a very good one. Yeah, okay, good to note. Then we have this guy, for example, Tomb Lord. Well, what has he done? He has essentially he has basically the same almost, except for the Evil Eye. He doesn't have that one. He has this one, just increases damage inflicted when attacking enemies with higher HP. It isn't a bad setup at all, and increases. He is definitely a tanky man, so that isn't bad either. It's kind of useless for him, let's be honest here, because he's not an attacker, but this is how I did it, and it seems to work fine. Giant Slayer is helping him do a lot in Clan Boss. Sniper he does his decrease at defense and attack, so this isn't bad either. Definitely not bad. Sniper is very good there. He's just a support hero anyway. And then we have Gore Grab, which I've kind of given up on. Yeah, this guy is tanky. Okay, he's the last to survive. Let's just say that Gore Grab is always the last person to survive. So defensive 3 just increases defense, decreases damage taken, increases the value of what he receives, which is great. Then we have remove 1 debuff. Yeah, you guys can read the skills for yourselves. But it's basically makes him more tanky, and he has a chance to counterattack. And here, this guy does heal, so it increases the champion's heals, then increases the turn meter when a buff is removed or expires. This is a very good setup, each Dedalaya, and then just increases the duration of things, and just increases his health. It's good enough, but I'd rather follow, The reason why I don't have Giant Slayer on him, or War Master, is because he only does 1 hit and he's not an offensive hero. If he did multiple hits, I would copy Apothecary, but at the moment, Apothecary does multiple hits with his first attack, so that's why I have this 3 right here. I have it the same way as I have, I have it almost the same way as I have it with Tomb Lord, but this guy also heals, so I'm just increasing his healing. a bit, and I'm increasing his turn meter when his speed buff is going away, which he does give speed. And then we have just Lore of Steel to increase his speed stats even more because of his speed stat. And then he is also known to survive beyond other people. So if an ally dies, it just gets more speed. And I'm not sure how it works. If 3 allies die, and if 2 allies die, and it's him and Gorgrab remaining, then Gorgrab revives everyone. Does he keep the speed? I think he does. And then that just makes it much easier for you. It really does. And then just increases the duration. For example, on speed, which is great. Then you may not have to do it for a round because your team is already speedy, basically. It has a low likelihood of doing it to everyone, but I've seen it do it to two heroes before, and definitely one hero. And Giant Slayer just because it's great against every boss ever, so yeah. And then I have my Kale, which is kinda, as you can see, it's just kind of a copy here. I don't need to extend the poison buff because it's always anyway, so I just did that to increase the poison chance. And then I have yeah, but this is, I would say this is for overall support, which heals and just gives buffs and who survives long. This is for most of the support heroes. This is a very good setup to keep. Unless you have a support hero giving debuffs, then I would go the route. Then I would go kind of the route where which I did on my Ray, except yeah. I don't know. I would go kind of the route. I would go for accuracy here. I would go for accuracy here. A debuff is removed or expired. That's kind of great, and the accuracy is important if they're casting debuffs. Lore of Steel is great then. It decreases. Evil Eye could be kind of cool, I guess, as well. Yeah, it's just kind of experiment around. And the guide will definitely help you a lot. It will, the Reddit guide, which will be linked down in the description. But I would like to thank everyone for watching. If you guys did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.